Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and today I'm going to be giving you my full review of the Knife Standards RR Standard. Now this knife here is the first knife design coming from Knife Standards. I'm going to focus on here. I'm trying to use the cinematic mode. See if this looks a little nicer. I think it's going to struggle a little bit. There we go. Now it's focusing. You can see that blade there. This is the first design though coming from Knife Standards. And this knife, unfortunately, has kind of a sad story to it, but of course, it's played out nicely, and it's done well. So the guy over at Knife Standards, this is a dedication to his late father. They worked on this design together, and unfortunately, his father did pass away before this knife could come to fruition. So this is kind of in dedication to his dad. You know, rest in peace to his father. And I'm glad that he was able to get a pre-order of these done. Unfortunately, by the time you're seeing this, the pre-order will have ended. But I will tell you a little bit more about this knife and my thoughts on it. This, of course, as I said, is the RR Standard coming from Knife Standards. You have a blade that in the prototype here is M390, but will be run in MagnaCut for the production version. It's 62 HRC, which is great to see. You're looking at a compound hollow grind on this guy with you can see the hollow right in the middle there, and then this front portion of the blade has your flat grind on it. You know, so a nice thin slicing edge along the flat of the blade here until you get up towards, really it's all belly, to be totally honest. So, you know, this part of the belly here, you have a nice hollow grind, and then you have a more robust flat grind for the tip. As I said, this is going to be in MagnaCut, which is really awesome to see. And this is a beast of a knife here. It's ground thin enough that it makes for really, really nice cutting. You know, no issues using this to cut things. The milling is really great in hand. It is a little bit on the thick side, but it fits comfortably due to some chamfering that is done. You can see that on the end of the frame here. So it does fit quite comfortably in your hand, and it carries nice and deep on that wire pocket clip that you can see. And you see nice deep carry on there. This comes in just over 5 ounces at 5.07 ounces. Super, super comfortable in hand, whether you choke up to this position or you stay back on this handle. You know, it's very, very comfortable to use. Really great purposeful jimping right up here by the thumb studs. Makes this really, really nice to cut with. The lock bar access is pretty good. You know, no real complaints. You kind of have to get your thumb in there. You know, there's not a ton of, you know, there's really nothing sticking up on this end. You have to kind of get your thumb into the frame. But once you do, it'll drop, and then you just have to shake it shut the rest of the way. These are running on bearings. Yes, on bearings. I wanted to make sure and double check. And you have thumb studs for your deployment. Super comfortable in hand. And I think this is going to be a killer knife for a lot of people. This is one of those that you buy it because you know it's capable. Being run in MagnaCut with the grind that it has and a fairly stout blade stock and a pretty heavy knife overall, this could be someone's everyday user. Whether they want to beat on it or if they want to treat it like something that's a little more light, you know, whatever it might be. This is a great option. Now, these were $365. As I said, these are being manufactured by Bestech. They did a killer job on these prototypes. The detent is absolutely money, even if it might be a little bit on the strong side. And just like Lefty EDC, I really prefer a stiff detent. But I think this is probably a little on the strong side. Maybe the lock bar tension is what's strong here. But regardless, it is just fantastic, and the action is really good. My thumb's it's a little fucked up. I'll use the F word. Why not? Yeah, I split my thumb open beginning of this week. Not gonna be able to see it. Then I cut my pinky open at the end of the week, so I'm an absolute mess. But I'm healed up enough to be able to use thumb studs and mostly use frame locks and liner locks now. But you can see the action is great. It's definitely tight. You know, I don't ever really mess with prototypes. I don't know You know, I don't want to be taking apart prototypes, anything like that, especially with them being from pass-arounds. I don't want to mess anything up. I'll leave that to somebody else to do. Now, not that I think I'd mess anything up, but on the off chance I can't get something right, I don't want to ruin everyone else's chances to handle this knife. So I imagine this action could get a little better by just adjusting that pivot slightly. There's absolutely no play in it right now. And then also some knife pivot lube. Link in the description if you want to buy any of that stuff. Wink, wink. Affiliate link. Knife pivot lube would probably make this, though, a little bit smoother on that action. Though it's really smooth, it just doesn't quite drop shut. I think that's something that's worth noting. There's no real friction that you feel, and there's no hesitation in this action. But you could see it drop shut much more readily, I would think, with some lubrication. Now, one of the things that I don't know if it's being added to the final version or not, but what I would have loved to have seen on this is a detent ramp. Right here, we're on the detent ball, and you can see to overcome that, it just kind of shoots shut. You know, my fingers are off the lock bar. I'm pushing. By the time that detent breaks, it slams shut. A detent ball ramp would make this so much smoother on the close for that action. Just that transitional point. You know, if you get your thumb out of the way, or if you get the blade down past that point, it's not a big deal. And it actuates really, really early, which is great to see. I love that we're this early for detent engagement. But it would be nice to have a nice and smoother transition from that point going forward. The only other nitpick I had with the knife was the total weight, which is just not my thing. I mean, these are thick slabs of titanium. There is some weight relief on the inside, and I think if you relieved more, it would feel kind of weird almost. So I understand why you'd go with the full 5-ounce weight on this one. Heavier than I would like, but I never really had a problem with this in the pocket. If you've carried something like a Koenig Arius or you know, like a full tie XM18 or something like that, you really aren't going to have any issues carrying something like this, because it's just about the same in terms of weight, and it's not as tall in the pocket as either one of those knives either. So that's something worth noting. Very slim carry profile. You know, it's just this rectangle in your pocket, so it's not very obtrusive in that way. And if I didn't show it off already, this has some really great milling on it. This is one of the versions available for pre-order. The other one was smooth scales. Still with these contoured, well, these big chamfers on it. And then the other option was a blacked out version. But yeah, nevertheless, like I said, this is the RR Standard from Knife Standards. His first design and dedication to his dad. And just, it was done well. This was done well by Bestech, and it's a good first design. At first, I didn't like it, and as I used it and carried it, I really found myself liking this one. Kind of bummed that I missed out on the pre-order for this one. You know, that I would have liked to have more time with this guy. I could see this getting some use around the house and in the yard and stuff like that, but you know, this will be moving along to the next person, which is 814 EDC, so go and check out Alex's channel. I'll leave a link to his in the description down below. He might get his video up on this before I do. I'm falling behind on uploads because I started class, so I am busy. But nevertheless, as I said, this is the RR Standard from Knife Standards. Knocked this one out of the park. Well done by Bestech, and of course, well done by him and his dad, designing a really nice carry piece here that can be hard use, or it can be good for just light daily tasks with that nice hollow grind in the middle of the blade. Hopefully this video doesn't look terrible. I know that there's been a lot of transitioning of focusing, trying out the cinematic mode here. I hope I fiddled with it nicely enough to make this look decent. If not, I won't do this again. So nevertheless, thanks so much for watching, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.